We're here at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas to celebrate the launch of NYSE Texas. And I'm joined now by two gentlemen perfect for that celebration. Jay Allison, he's the chairman and CEO of Comstock Resources, and Jerry Jones, owner, president, and general manager of the Dallas Cowboys. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
An honor to speak with you here today in the stadium. Jay, we'll start with you. Introduce our viewers to Comstock Resources.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for being here. I'd like to thank the NYSE for hosting it, and Jerry at AT&T Stadium for providing the venue. And as far as Comstock, we are an independent, really natural gas producer. We've been around really since 1850. We've been public since 1919. And we've been on the New York Stock Exchange for 30 years, but we produce from the Haynesville Shale, and the Haynesville Shale is the primary shale in North America. And the reason is because it's closest to the LNG export facilities that are being built and the hundreds of billions of dollars that are being spent to build those facilities. We also own the single largest acreage position in Texas for natural gas. So Comstock is quite a company. If you look at the state of Texas, you look at energy, that's what we do. We provide the world, much less Texas, with energy, which what's that do? It provides electricity, and that powers data centers, and we export gas all over the world.
And Jerry, you invested in that energy, a big investment in Comstock in 2018. What was behind that?
Well, there really is a great similarity between the story of how we became involved with the Cowboys and how we became involved with Comstock. In both cases, the best success I've enjoyed was when you went the other way from the common thinking. Almost every time that I can point to it, well, very few people were coming the Cowboy way in 1989, and I'm talking about not on the field, but off the field. The Cowboys were losing $1 million a month. I bought 15% of the Cowboys from the FDIC. They'd been foreclosed on. Control of the Cowboys was going to the courthouse to be auctioned off. That's the shape of, if you will, football at the time, and I'm not exaggerating, and certainly the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I didn't have to mess with the FDIC to get involved with Comstock at all. But what you did see was a really a less than enthusiastic involvement in hydrocarbons. You had so much interest in, okay, we're going to go to renewables. Yet we all recognized, at least I did, that we're going to need energy. This country has to run on energy. And so I looked at first of all, I looked at Comstock from the standpoint of their management. Their management is one of the soundest, highest character managements of any team, or that team out, but of any company. That's critical, because when you're in an intangible, when you are talking about what really only God knows, that's what's down there at 20,000 feet in our particular case. The integrity of the management, the integrity of all the people involved has everything to do with where you put your dollar. I personally have put over $1 billion into Comstock over the last 7 years. That's what I think of the management. But of course, we're mighty proud of the fact that, frankly, we have the most gas in the right place of anybody in the United States. And that's a big deal for us in Comstock. I think Comstock is really, from the standpoint of some comparison, I think it puts the Cowboys in the shade financially.
Interesting. Jay, a $1 billion investment, as Jerry mentioned there. How has your company tapped into that?
Well, so if you look at Jerry going against the flow, which is the reason we're here today, right? So in 2018, Jerry calls me, and we had met 10 or 15 years earlier. So we knew, and he followed what Comstock was doing. He's very smart about that. He looks to see if what we told him we might be doing 10 or 15 years earlier, we actually were successful or we failed in doing it. We were successful. So he called January 5th of 2018, and he said, I'd like to drill some wells with you. And so everybody, if you're a natural gas company, you're in the valley. And I said, well, Jerry, we're struggling because gas prices are lower. He said, well, that's exactly what I like. Are you dry gas? Said yes. What's your inventory look like? We have hundreds and hundreds of locations. He said, if you drill a well, can you sell it, the gas? Yes. And are you near this feed gas, this LNG corridor that's growing? I said, yes. So he puts his company in, and the beauty of this is then as he understands more and more of the public arena, we buy a company for 2.2 billion in 2019. Jerry Jones family, they write a $475 million check. Now that's a big check since he just put 625 million or so of his personal wealth in the year before. And then we come and we perform really well. And when gas was the lowest that it's been in 30 years, it's a great example. Last year gas was $1.98. So you visit with Jerry and you say, well, what do you want to do? He said, well, I want to buy all that acreage that we need to buy. And I'll say, well, the market may not like it. He said, but we should be buying it, right? I said, we should. He said, well, I'll buy another $100 million of stock from the company. So today, where do we end up? We end up with 700,000 gross acres. Where? In East Texas. Where is that near? It's near LNG. And all of it is really undedicated. So if you're a hyperscaler or if you're a LNG purchaser, we're the closest, largest contiguous gas source near where your need is. And that's because of Jerry.
Yep, unquestionably, it's the gas, it's the reserves, it's where you have the ability to go in economically when the need is there for the marketplace. And certainly Comstock had that to some degree, but we had great opportunities for the future. And I don't mind telling you, there's a great similarity. You pick that phone up with your left hand and you're selling with your left hand, and then all of a sudden you get a right hand and that's not going so good, might have a dry hole. And I say that cavalierly, but might have, your voice can't break, you gotta keep it rolling over there. Jay's got some of that and so does his team.
What are the similarities, Jerry, between exploration to this extent and your experience as owner of the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, it's hard to keep the players in at night, but so that's one of the challenges. So there's ambiguity, all right? And for example of one, okay? It's hard to know what's 20,000 feet down there, so there's a little ambiguity. It is critical to have the most competitors, the hardest working. It's critical because you're dealing with some ambiguous points. Anytime you've got two of those, you've got something that, what's going to make the difference? The character, the hard work, and really you're supposed to look at an area that has promise. I thought sports had promise, really, relatively speaking. I frankly didn't think it was appreciated from the standpoint of affinity, from the standpoint of companies and services using sports to help people become interested to do more purchases, so to speak. So I thought it was underused then. Same thing with natural gas 7 years ago. And candidly, I think both of them have more upside now than they did 7 years ago.
Talk to me more about that upside, where you see that potential.
Well, I think that you go to the demand. But in the case of natural gas, you've got to have it when the demand needs it. And the issue is dovetailing, having the gas with the demand, and planning when it's not quite in sync, which means low prices, or if you are going to add future gas, do it when the prices are down, not when they're high, because everybody's standing out there trying to lease when it's high. That's what we've done at Comstock, and frankly, I couldn't have anticipated 7 years ago, but we're involved in my mind, the greatest reservoir supply of gas there is, not just in America, but maybe around the world, and we're involved with right between Dallas, Texas and Houston, Texas. there's a good market in this area because that Gulf's nearby.
Yeah.
You know, to Jerry's point,
Yes.
what we've done, we've been able to capture 100 miles from Dallas, 100 miles from Houston, this 700,000 gross acres. We drill about 80 wells a year. We drill a little more than a well a week, let's say. So we have over 3,000 locations, potential locations, that's completely undedicated that Comstock controls. So, you know, we announced a couple weeks ago that NextEra, so NextEra is the single largest producer in the world, much less the U.S. You know, we're collaborating with them to deal with the data centers. You know, we years ago we started dealing with Venture Global. In fact, Mike Sable, who's CEO, is a good friend of mine and Jerry's, and they're going to be the premier exporter of LNG. We have all those contacts, but we wouldn't have grown our asset base to provide the gas that's needed, like Jerry talks about, without Jerry's gift of encouraging the whole team and saying, look, I know what the balance sheet looks like, but also know what the hardcore assets look like, and we're doing the right thing.
Jay,
So-
I get a little criticism for not signing, in this case, Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is one of our star defensive players, and everybody's saying, why not sign Micah Parsons? Why not sign Micah Parsons? To put this in perspective, those wells that we drill about one a week come in at about $25 million a piece up. So nobody's got is timid here about taking a risk or paying, and so it kind of gets you ready for the other one, each one, football or drilling gas wells.
Well, if you're looking at 8 rigs busy, and these wells are 15 to 25 million each every day, right? And that's to drill and complete. And if you own 71% of the company, you're exposed to about $165 million at any given day. So the game is bigger. And you say, well, do I have to go issue stock or do mergers and acquisitions to grow? And the answer is no. We have 1,300 locations plus the prospective 3,000 or so in a brand new region, which we named the Western Haynesville.
Jay?
That is why
Yeah.
we
Excuse
spend
me
so
for
much time
interrupting.
together.
And excuse me for interrupting, but he does it to me all the time.
We
so
love it.
Fair play. But it's important to understand what optimism or what energy or the thrill of the chase means. You don't just go out here and on a daily basis and pick up the phone and put $1 billion in a company. You don't do that. It is important to be involved for me in something that you can't go to sleep. Or when 5 o'clock comes in the morning, it's like Dracula coming up from the 100-year sleep, ready to go. Well, raising straight up. That's what the business of Comstock does for us. That pursuit, yes, it's dicey stuff in a way, but candidly, to have the opportunity we've got is very similar to the opportunity we got with the Cowboys competing for Super Bowls.
I like that. I like that comparison a lot. And Jay, I want to talk to you about Comstock Resources. You introduced our viewers more to the company earlier during this interview. And of course, listed on the NYSE for almost 30 years, now dual listed on NYSE Texas. What does that mean to you?
So first of all, when we were able to list on the big board in New York, it was like a godsend, like we really qualified. It's qualifications, right? And then when we got a phone call that said that we're going to start Texas NYSE, I thought, you know, hang up and will you call me back again to make sure it's real, right? And we were the very first ones. Now you've got dozens and dozens of them now, but we're the very first one because we thought it was a win for the NYSE. It's a win for the state of Texas. It's a win for an energy company. I don't see anybody losing anything. In fact, if you're invited to do it, I think you're a little foolish not to do it. So,
Jay,
it's
I've
a
got to
great
say
thing.
this. I've got to say this. How many 50-mile and 100-mile races have you run in, let's say, the last 10 years?
Well, so
How many would you say?
well, I've run since I was 40. I've run 10 100-mile races. I've run 10 50-mile races, and I've run hundreds of marathons. And the weird thing about that is when I played football at Baylor, I was a nose guard and I weighed, 245. So you're not supposed to be able to do that. So I always say, maybe God gave me a defective brain, but he gave me good body parts.
Well, what it does for me is anybody that's, how old you say you were?
So I'm 69.
69. Anybody 69-year-olds out here running 50 and 100-mile races will gnaw the leg off the table in terms of being competitive out here. And that's not only what you're looking for in a football player, that's what you're looking for in a business partner. And that's why I'm with Comstock.
Well, and the truth is, like on Saturdays, Jerry may call me, and I may be in the middle of Jerry will call and I pick up the phone, I'll say, I sound like Darth Vader because I'm breathing really hard. He said, are you running? I said, yeah. He said, well, I'll call you later. I said, no, this distracts me. So we would be talking during a 5 or 6 hour run, and Gene would say, Jerry, hang up on him. And Jerry would say, no, this is good. We're good. But it's the chemistry, right? And it's fun.
Well, he knows I'm running my mouth while I've got my feet up on that couch talking to him on Saturday mornings.
So it's a good
great
pair.
combination, exactly.
A great combination. I like that. Finally, gentlemen, NYSE, Texas, here today at AT&T Stadium, the home of the Dallas Cowboys, to celebrate this new fully electronic equities exchange. What does this mean for the state of Texas?
Well, let me say this.
Yeah.
We talk about AI. Without AT&T and their ability to deliver it to this country, okay? And AT&T is an American company. Their main competition is not. They're an American company. It's the reason that I wanted our stadium to be named AT&T. Alexander Graham Bell. It's about America. So we're so proud not only to be a part of AT&T and have been, but we're a part that the Texas New York Stock Exchange is kicking off in AT&T Stadium. It's very appropriate. They've had an amazing turnaround under John Stanky over the last really several years, but really manifests itself over the last 6 months. And so I'll tell you right now, I do believe in osmosis, sticking next to and rubbing off on success. So I'm gonna rub on John Stanky today when I see him. Celebrating AT&T being a part of the inaugural kickoff of the Texas New York Stock Exchange.
That is definitely some good vibes to go around,
Yes.
indeed. And for your company, Jay, Comstock Resources, do you think this is a win for the state?
Oh, if you're an energy, I'm just going to pick on energy companies, right? The state that I would prefer to be in is Texas. I was born in Texas, so I'm inclined to say that. But it's look at the Permian Basin. It's the oil capital of the United States. And look at where the first shale was created. It's the Barnett. It's in Fort Worth. Look at where the second shale play was. It's East Texas. And we were part of the second shale play ever. And now we were a part of the discovery of what we think is the biggest shale play. What does shale do for you? It's dry gas. And what do you need dry gas for? Well, you've got 17 billion cubic feet of dry gas exported today. When Jerry called, it was 1 B a day. It's 17. 3 years from now, they're going to need another 17 Bs. If you ask next year, you're going to need another 12 billion cubic feet just to service data centers. So Texas, dry natural gas, NYSE, it meshes in a good stew.
That is a winning mixture indeed.
Yes.
Gentlemen, it's an honor to be with you here today and to celebrate NYSE Texas together.
Great.
Incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you for always hosting us. You do a fabulous job.
It's my honor. Thank you so much. Jay Allison, Jerry Jones.